back to another episode of Wisco Fanatics, Friday night edition, Packer special. We have Simon and Brian with us, our Packer specialists. We had some exciting Packer news today, so we're gonna roundtable, discuss what we thought about it, and we're gonna start with Simon. Simon, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah, what's up, guys? How's it going? I'm actually getting better. I was sick like all week. I felt like dog. It was a really bad week for me, and it's cold. It was 17 degrees here this morning.
Cry about it. It's like 17 below here.
He's in Texas though, so I understand.
Yeah,
it's pretty cold for Texas. I get it.
It's different. It'll be 50.
Let me get my violin out. Sorry.
Okay. It has to be the world's smallest one, or it doesn't count.
Exactly.
All right. So, breaking news today was Elton Jenkins signing a 4-year, $68 million, $17 million per year.
One more
with
million.
Up to, huh?
$1 more million. We could have threw a
one more
party, man.
But it could be up to $74 million, so there's still a possibility.
Oh, let's go.
And it came with a $24 million signing bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, it was a really, really good signing. A lot of people might say we overpaid, but honestly, I think the Packers.
I've seen just as many people say that we might have underpaid.
Oh, I think so.
I think
if he hits a free agency, yeah.
But I was thinking like the Packers paid for his versatility. Mm-hmm. Like he started out this year playing on the right tackle spot, coming off his ACL injury, and it wasn't. He was kind of rocky. He had a couple good games, a couple really not so great games. But they once Bakhtiari came back and Tom kind of developed along a little bit, we got to stick him back in his left guard spot where he's been absolutely phenomenal.
And Josh Nijman should be in that conversation as well.
Yep, and Josh Nijman at the right tackle spot. He's been okay. He's had a couple of good games, couple not so good games. But since week 10, he's allowed 0 pressure, 0 sacks, 0 hits, 0 hurries, and he's only given up 1 penalty, and that was that horseshit penalty in the Philly game with the Aaron Jones.
Oh, when
the textbook blocking.
The textbook blocking. Yeah, so he's been an absolute rock for 5 weeks now, and I love this signing. I'm glad we got to keep him. I really like Elton Jenkins. What do you guys think?
Bryant, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm interested. I'm looking forward to seeing the cap numbers really and what the hit looks like, because obviously, we do have Rashawn on his 5th-year option, but we obviously have to start looking at an extension for him. The Savage guarantee $7 million is kind of hurting us next year. I see people saying cut Savage for what? We're paying him no matter what. Yeah. So it makes no sense. I don't want to get into that. So he'll be on the team next year unless we traded him. But I'm interested to see if that $24 million guarantee, how much we put on this year's cap and how low or how back end it is, because we still have a few people we want to extend, restructure next year for sure. If the plan is going forward to keep the core together. We got a lot of work to do this offseason, but I'm very happy with maintaining him. I will say, I hope this means he's pretty much locked in at left guard. I hope we signed him to be that position, because I think that's where he's an all-pro at, or a potential all-pro, and he's a Pro Bowler at left guard. He is super versatile and can flip out. I will say that I wouldn't be crazy upset if they tried him at center, because Josh Myers continues to have his struggles here off and on. But I think if we lock him in at left guard and we know we have a perennial Pro Bowler at left guard, I'm fine with that. That makes me happy.
All right. So I'm going to play off both of you, what you both said. First of all, what I'm going to say is we now have 4 of our 5 offensive linemen locked up for next year and going forward. So to me, that's a great sign. The last person they have to get done is Josh Nijman, which I don't think will be too difficult. But if he hits the free agent market and you really need a right tackle, you might overpay for him because he's still.
I think they're going to tender him with a 2nd-round tender on Josh Nijman, and if someone wants to sign him, they'll get a 2nd-round pick.
Right. So with that being said, you talked about leaving him at left guard. I think the development of Tom allows us to just put him like, boom, you're left guard. Tom, you're going to be the floater now. You're going to move around. And I actually like Myers. I know that he has his struggles. I agree with you. He has his up and down games, but when he's up and he's playing well, the Packers offensive line is just absolutely mauling.
I like it when Myers can get to the 2nd level. I honestly think he might be one of our better offensive linemen at getting to the 2nd level and beyond when he's able to get to that point.
Yep. Actually, Tyler, to that point, I text my dad a lot during the games, just like I text you. I'm texting a million different people. So I'm looking at the TV. I'm getting really good at texting without looking. So if you see a gibberish word, you know what I'm doing. So I talked to my buddy out in Phoenix. I talked to my dad. I'm
Jake
talking to
trying
you
to
guys.
flex about being popular.
I mean, I have my buddy in Phoenix, Jason, my dad, and then I talked to you guys. And, with that being said, we've talked a lot about Myers getting to the second level. So, Tyler, that was a great point. My dad and I talk about that quite a bit, actually. But I love this signing. I think they underpaid, personally, for a guy that could be, he's in his prime right now. And he could have asked for a ton more money. He could have went to any team he wanted to. He's a very valuable player. And the Packers' run game is really freaking good when he's really freaking good. The last couple of weeks, the Packers' run game has been really freaking good.
I forgot to say one thing about the signing.
Go ahead, Brian, real quick.
I wanted to say it just even like the cherry on top is we've already seen Bears fans talking about, we're going to have him on our offensive line. We're going to overpay him, hurt our rival, and he'll be a Bear next year. No, that ain't happening, buddy.
No, you guys can steal Claypool and then not throw him
on the
ball.
open market. He'd probably command, I bet. I'd be willing to bet that.
I didn't hear what you said. You froze.
Yeah,
obviously we'll never know, but I said on the open market, I'd be willing to bet that he would get paid $20 to $22 million a season.
Ooh.
With the cap booming in 2024, I could see it.
I can see it.
I mean,
Whatever,
if we're
happy
living
holiday,
in a
but-
world where Christian Kirk is making $21 million a year.
He's had a good year. I'll say that.
That's-
Yeah, didn't
he's
make
had a-
not
he's had a-
really 20
He's had a
he's had
good
a
year,
solid year.
but he's still Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything else you guys want to say on that, or should we get into some stars and talk about this Monday Night Football game?
Talk about it.
Let's get into some stars.
We'll say happy holidays to Bernard too. He watches the show pretty regularly. So
Happy holidays, man.
Happy holidays.
All right. So Jake has our number one star. Jake, go ahead.
I'm not going to get into some really specific stuff because we are going to cover him a little bit more. But AJ Dillon, freaking monster of a man. It's AJ Dillon season. We all know that. 11 carries, 36 tough earned yards, and 2 tough earned touchdowns. He also had 3 catches for 35 yards. One of his catches was on a 3rd and 11, I believe. So he picked that one up. He had a great game. And AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are looking really, really good these last couple of weeks. Sorry, man. I rolled my ankle
Aaron
the other day,
Jones?
and this shit is just killing me right now, man.
So
Speaking of Aaron Jones,
4 years old.
he is our number 2 star.
Yeah, so for Aaron Jones, had 126 all-purpose yards, 90 rushing. The good thing about the rushing was it was 5.3 average against a defense that is normally pretty good against the run, so that helped us control the clock. He did have the receiving touchdown. He did have the 1 fumble, but I still can't for the life of me figure out how they did not blow the whistle on forward progress.
He was still kind of
going.
going forward, honestly.
That's like
The refs have too much control, Brian. The refs
He wasn't,
either way,
he wasn't
yeah.
stopped.
He
Like,
needs to go down
I'm
there or just hold on to the ball either way. So I've seen that same play call to stop, especially if it's quarterback, but I've seen it go that way as well. So it was just one of those we're on the unfortunate side there where he was still fighting a tiny bit. Really kind of was held up, and then we got he lost the fumble. But either way, solid game from him again. We need him to just continue to be that consistent player. I feel like him and AJ Dillon could play. Well, they'll play a huge role if we're going to make the playoffs this season. So in these last 3 games, they have to be our 2 best players on offense, I think. So
For sure. So for the 3rd star of the game, we had Preston Smith. He had 2 sacks. One of them I'm going to get into a little bit more when we get into some of the recap. But the 2 sacks by Preston Smith were really a big part of this game. Simon has our underrated performer this week.
So I picked Kingsley Enagbare. I really liked his game this week. I thought he made a lot of really, really good plays. And I feel like every time that we're talking about him in a game making a play, it's always on and Tyler will probably talk about this a little bit more. It's always him blowing up a screen too. So he's getting better at rushing the passer, and he's just consistently in on plays at or near the line of scrimmage. And I thought this might have been his best game of the year. I honestly, I can't.
He had a
know
pretty
he's
good
had a
game
couple,
in Philly too, but
yeah, Philly was good. So that might be a good argument, but
it's definitely 1A, 1B though.
Yeah, if you want to call 1A, 1B, I'm fine with that. But this might have been, it was just like constantly when I was talking to Brian during the game, which I don't do a ton, but I decided to.
I wouldn't either.
It was like Kingsley Enagbari's name kept popping up on plays, and so it was really good to see him in on all the action.
Agreed.
Yeah, Bill agreed. Bill said, good choice. Enagbari has been really solid the last couple games. Honestly,
he's really come alive. He's a good player. Man.
Right. So we lose Rashawn Gary, who is probably on pace to have an all-pro season, not just a Pro Bowl season, but probably pro season. And we lose him, and then we have Kingsley Enagbari filling in. And, there's obviously going to be a drop-off when you're losing Rashawn Gary, but to not have a significant drop-off to where it's like, God, you can tell how badly we miss Rashawn Gary. I do think that's been a kind of a revelation and just adds to how good actually the 2022 draft was for the Packers.
True.
All right. So let's go to the offense. Jake, what 2 plays stood out to you from the Packers offense against the Rams defense?
So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Packers utilizing Watson's speed. Obviously, we know that they've done it with doing end arounds. They're now putting him in motion a lot more. I've noticed to kind of see who follows him, how the defense kind of shifts. Because if you watched, and me and Tyler were at the game on Lambeau on Monday, you noticed whenever he went deep, there was a safety over the top. I was like, oh, they're not letting this boy fly. They're not letting this boy fly. I kept saying it. I was sitting with my buddy Alex. Tyler was with his wife, and I kept looking. I was like, they ain't letting this boy fly, man. They ain't letting him be great. They just won't let him do his own thing, and that was bothering me a little bit. But it's a great asset to an offense, especially with Dubs back, a guy that could just control the middle of the field. And you saw it on one play where Watson went in motion, and they faked the jet sweep to him, and then I believe it was in the fourth quarter, like the last drive. All of a sudden, they had Dubs over the middle to like the 49 of the Rams, and I was like, that was a big, massive pickup. And I was like, oh, teams are going to be so pissed guarding those two for the next 10 years, man. That's going to be so annoying. But the thing that I really loved was there was a play, there was bunch set, and it was a 3rd and 1, and they had Watson on the outside of the bunch, and they sent him in motion to the right. Rodgers calls hike, fakes a handoff to Patrick Taylor, and then you have Watson coming across the formation, basically at the line of scrimmage, and now you have a guy chasing him. And we all know what that looks like. We saw it in the Cowboys games, guys running for their fucking lives trying to catch this kid. And Rodgers just gets an easy dump off, and that's 5, 7, 10 yards. Who knows? He could just run past your entire defense if you have blocking up the field or the right combination of routes. So I love that LaFleur is using his speed to his advantage in a lot of different ways and just sending him deep. That's something that I love. And then the second one, I picked Dylan's second touchdown. I know that you have his first touchdown. That one was my favorite one of the game. I hope that you bring the energy when you talk about that because I was so hyped watching
I have some big reasons, literally, why I picked that play.
Yeah, that touchdown was awesome, but this touchdown equally is awesome. The first thing I noticed on this play was the Rams had 10 players in the box. Now, it's because when we brought Lazard in, we motioned Lazard. He goes right behind Big Dog, kind of in an H-back position. And then the Rams have 10 players in the box, and the hole was this damn big. I was like, oh, my God, we absolutely manhandled these little dudes. And just right up the gut, nobody touching him. Randall Cobb got a good block on that play, if you notice, because he was in the slot, and they had Watson out wide. That was the only defender not in the box. So for the Packers to dominate a team like that with 10 people in the box, just man on man, that's a great sign to me that this team is ready to go. They're bringing the physicality, and I love every moment of it. And I know you guys are being fools in this private chat right now for the way I'm talking. I know it.
I would never.
All right, Simon, what 2 plays stood out to you on offense?
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to talk about the Rodgers interception because I think this is the thing we've seen. Stop looking at the chat. I think this is something we've seen a few times this year where it's just like it seemed like it was just a miscommunication. Rodgers expected Lazard to keep going up the field off the sideline, and it was beautifully wide open. Good play call. Lazard kind of snuck his way into that corner. And I think Rodgers just expected him to keep running up the field, and Lazard kind of wanted to settle in that spot where he was wide open before safety, I forget who it is, got to him, and Rodgers just blatant.
Right? It was Taylor Rapp. Yeah. It was Taylor Rapp. Yeah,
Rapp. That's it. And so Rodgers obviously just overthrew him, and I don't know. I can think of like 4 or 5 off the bat interceptions this season are just basically off of miscommunication from the receiver and Rodgers. And if we're going to make the playoffs, that's just something that we have to clean up.
I will say in Lazard's defense on that one, I do think he made the right call to settle down a little bit.
Yeah,
I think Aaron he was so wide open. Aaron just needs to put
especially
the ball on him.
Against the zone defense to sit in the open spot of the zone.
Because Aaron's throw was even leading him more into the sidelines. If you just hit him, it gives him a chance to break a tackle and take it for a touchdown or even further down the field. Yep. So I mean, I get it. It was a miscommunication. They've seen different things. But I think Lazard made the right choice on that one. I think that was more on Aaron.
Too. I think so too. And then lastly, it was good to see Big Dog get a fucking catch like that, man. He just like the play broke down. Rodgers was scrambling off to his right, and he just takes 3 steps up the field, looks around him, nobody's near him, and he's just like, "Give me the ball."
Yeah, he definitely was not even supposed to run a route on that play. It was awesome.
Yeah. He was kind of like, to me, it looked like he was just camped out. Like he was a lineman waiting for the next guy to block, and then he's like, "Oh shit, I'm an eligible receiver." Like,
yeah. Were you guys all yelling at your TV like, "Move your ass"?
I know he
move your ass.
I know he's like 38 years old or whatever, so he ain't moving.
I was trying to hold on to the ball. He's so old. Like probably all his bones in his body crack when
he's got that old man strength though, man.
It's just a rarity to see him get a catch for. I mean, he's a really good player, right? Super smart, and he knows his job, and he's not going to deviate from that. Mm-hmm. So it's always good to see him get a little bit of glory every now and then, you know?
And I think if Rodgers is back next year, I don't think Mercedes Lewis will be in a player, but I hope we bring him on as a coach or something.
I'd love to keep him around.
Yeah, so I love him as a player. So.
All right, Bryant, what 2 plays stood out to you on the offense?
So both of them involve Christian Watson, but the first one is the touchdown pass to Aaron Jones. The real reason I want to talk about it is because the block that Watson threw. I will say we didn't pick this one, but there was a play where Watson literally blocked the defensive end, like number 95, and he let Aaron Jones get onto the outside for like a 10-yard game, and he was just holding up like almost like Big Dog, like just blocking this dude, and he couldn't get through him. You guys have to go. If you haven't seen the play, go find it.
That's part of the value of having Big Dog on the roster is that he can teach guys those things. You know, like we've talked about Josiah DeGuara growing as a blocker this year. He plays the same position. Alan Lazard and Christian Watson play wide receiver, and they're getting, basically a guy who could be a tight end coach anywhere in the NFL or in college or whatever he wanted to do, and they're getting that from a player on their team. So that's just another, unsung element of having him on the team.
Yeah. So back to Jones receiving touchdown though. First off, it was out of the pony package, which I loved. You see a fake to the AJ Dillon on the inside, and then it's essentially Jones and Watson versus 3 Rams players, and Watson absolutely drives the person he's blocking out of bounds, and while he's doing it, essentially screens another Rams player, kind of cuts into him, and then that gave Jones, who's great, waiting to set up his block right, time to cut back in and dive for the touchdown. So all in all, it was just a great play like that blocking, and then Jones' vision and cut back inside, it was amazing. So it was just like Watson's blocking, like everyone's like, oh, he only went 4 for 46 or whatever. I'm like, if that's all you see in this game, you did not watch it. Like his movement, opening, plays up like Jake talked about, and then his blocking was phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and then the second play I want to talk about, and it was the reason I picked this one is because that stupid article that came out this week, which to me, for me, that article is just like ridiculous. It
A
was
nothing
laughable, right?
burger.
Yeah, nothing burger, like Aaron Rodgers said. Oh, he expects the wide receivers to know his signals. Like, did you see Rich Bisaccia making a joke about that? I loved it. Yeah, that was hilarious. Did you see that, Jake? Or Rich Bisaccia? Yeah, that was hilarious. Anyways, so yeah, of course, right after, and Aaron Rodgers even talked about it. I think it was on the Pat McAfee show or something else. He said they've maybe missed 2 or 3 signals all season. Like, so unfortunately, he misses that one because I know we all we were our previous show. We talked about what does Watson have to do to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. So we all want to see, and I honestly think Aaron wants him to get those touchdowns because I think Aaron wants to help him get that, into that conversation as well. But he's so selfish, right? But trust me, they could have ran that. They probably could have run a touchdown in right there, but he wanted to get Watson that touchdown. Unfortunately, missed the signal. It is what it is. But for him to, everyone's like, oh, he was mad. Well, yeah, he's mad because he wants him to get the signal. But within 30 seconds, he's patting him on the helmet. Then you see him dapping him up in the locker room. And then you see him trolling him in the interview afterwards. Like, don't tell me this dude, like Aaron, doesn't care about these rookies and that he doesn't converse with them and that he's not approachable. He's not approachable to the players that don't want to be great. That's what he is.
That's fair.
Because he's great, point. And that's what he expects.
I have a couple of Rodgers snips for when we're talking a little bit later, so I'm gonna share those a little bit later. But for me, the 2 plays that stood out to me on the offense, one was Watson's second catch. This happened in the third quarter. It was the second catch. First, it was a crazy tight window for Rodgers to even throw the ball into because the safety was right on top of Watson, like as soon as he was catching the ball, and then obviously for Watson making the catch himself. But to me, what stands out about this is that we have seen, obviously over the last 4 weeks, but Christian Watson is not just a one-trick pony. He's not just a speed threat. He's not just the MVS replacement. He's more than that. He's running routes over the middle, and he's making these tough catches. That's outside the bag that we thought he had when he was drafted. So we're seeing development from him from the beginning of the season, and he missed a handful of games in there. So that's why that stood out to me. And I think this type of play is the type of thing that'll help Aaron Rodgers want to stick around in 2023. Seeing that these guys are capable of doing these things and that he can trust them to do these things. Rodgers isn't throwing that ball into a super tight window to Amari Rodgers, for example. He's throwing that to guys that he trusts to catch the ball in that situation.
I love the contested catches this game.
The other one that stood out to me was Aaron Jones. AJ Dillon's first touchdown. To me, the thing that stood out about this is, first of all, safety tried to make a tackle on AJ Dillon, and it did not go well for him.
Also Taylor Rapp.
Yes.
And 4 other people on the team.
That play came after 2 other runs by A.J. Dillon. So the Packers were 4th and 3. They ran with A.J. Dillon for 5. They ran with A.J. Dillon for, I think, another 5. And then the touchdown run was for 8. On that drive, A.J. Dillon had 4 carries for 22 yards and 2 receptions for another 18 yards. Just on that drive alone. Then the absolute best part of this was the rugby scrum that helped get A.J. Dillon into the end zone. So first, A.J. Dillon knocks over the first guy. He's met by 2 more guys from the Rams. And then 6 more Packers come and push A.J. Dillon in. So it ends up being like a 7-on-3 pushing the Packers against the Rams into the end zone. So it's obviously A.J. Dillon. Then Alan Lazard gets behind him. Then Zach Tom gets behind him. Then Josh Myers gets in. Then Elton Jenkins. And then Josiah DeGuara. And then John Runyon. And we have 7 guys to 3 from the Rams.
I would like to know the total LBs for the Packers against the total LBs for the Rams in that situation. Because golly.
Several thousand.
Probably like 1,200 to 550.
It was not a lot. It was a lot to not a lot.
I'd be closer to fucking 2,000 pounds.
for the Packers.
Yeah, for the Packers.
like a school bus and a Prius going at it. Bernard said after Rodgers picked, he pointed at his chest and said it was his bad, but they didn't show that on TV. Yeah, I didn't really catch that because I was watching for the tackle to be made, so I didn't catch.
I was
Rodgers
watching
on
the
that
ball
one.
on that play too.
Yeah.
I was watching. I was like, oh my god, he got Lazard, and all of a sudden it was like, what the fuck?
All right, so let's switch to defensive side of the ball. Jake, what 2 plays stood out to you on the defense?
All right, so I'm gonna start with positive, and then I'm gonna go to not so positive.
No, do it the other way around.
Do it the other way
Bad
around.
news first.
Okay, I'll start with the Douglas interception.
That's only
First
half
of all,
bad news too.
Kenny Clark had a great game. It was nice to see Kenny splitting double teams and just manhandling grown men like they were 8-year-olds again. That was fun to watch, won't lie. So the interception happened on a 3rd and 13. So the Packers all year, we rarely send a blitz, so they send 4. They did that a lot in this game. So on this play, that means you have 7, and they had the running back and the tight end kind of chip and go out for routes late. So really it was 7 versus 3, but then with a couple options underneath. But on 3rd and long, okay, throw it short. If we tackle, we're good to go. Get the hell off the field, right? So Mayfield trying to make a play. You can't blame him for trying to make a play. Tries to step up in the pocket. Kenny Clark gets there, hits his arm a little bit, and the ball falls right into Douglas's hands. And I'm like, oh, boy, he's pretty close to the end zone. I could smell it for him. And he starts running, and he like double clutched the pitch. And like if he would have just threw it right away to Rudy Ford, who was right behind him, I'm like, all right, I'm on board with that. That's cool. But he waited until he like spun all the way around in a circle, and he's basically flat on the ground. I'm like, what is happening right now? And then Amos gets the ball and takes an unnecessary clock to the side of the head, and I'm like, what the is going on today? This is so random. So he pitched the ball from the 22. Amos gets clocked at the 34. That's yardage that you can't give up for an offense every once in a while. To be serious, not to joke around. That's yardage where, an offense that can be sporadic at times. Let's just be honest. All of a sudden a sack and we're out of field goal range, right?
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
We didn't score that because of that.
You got to think about that kind of stuff, man. So for Rasul Douglas, he's got to be smarter. I love that he played the ball and he got the ball, and I love all that stuff. And we're being aggressive, going and getting the ball and shit. But we had 3 versus 7. We get the interception, and you flip it like that. I'm just like,
keep going forwards,
dude. Even if you just fall to 22, who gives a shit? We have the ball at that 22. We're literally on the doorstep of the red zone,
right?
And AJ Dillon is running over these players like nothing. That
was the same drive. Aaron Rodgers then takes his patented sack out of field goal range, right? Once a game. Yeah. So we didn't end up scoring because of that.
I feel like it was like twice this game, or like midfield or so, and he just ended up taking a sack.
I think one of those drives though was when it should have been a fumble for Cobb.
That's right.
Which was a weird.
I think that was one of the drives because then the next play Rodgers got sacked right after that. I think it was a catch and a fumble too, but
it was.
But whatever. We won the game, so we're just nitpicking at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
So then, we have very small margin of error, so we kind of have to nitpick, I would think. My next one is about Hollins against his former team. And one thing that I noticed that he did very, very well in this game, he had a half a sack, so awesome for him, is the Rams kept running play actions and then booting Baker to the opposite side. And if I can knock Enagbare for one thing, he kept falling for that play action. And I don't blame him for streaming down the line because they had a couple good runs.
He wants to get to the quarterback.
I agree. And he sees ball, give me ball. Like, whatever, that's fine. You be hungry, you go hit the hell out of somebody. I'm cool with that. But Hollins had the wherewithal and the awareness to kind of stay patient, trust his people behind him, trust his people in the middle. He's a little bit more veteran. So he sits in there and he waits, and he played that a couple of times. And he made some great plays, forcing Baker to step up or stop or throw it short or throw it before he wanted to. And I just wanted to give Hollins some credit for keeping contained on that outside. So that was a great job by him. We're going to need it with the speed in Miami. I'll say that.
Good stuff. 2 comments I want to address real quick before I go to Simon. One said, Robert said Wyatt got some action. He did get some action. I'm still seeing a lot of clamoring for more action, which I'm on board with, but I also want to kind of give people a little bit of context when it comes to Devontae Wyatt's snap counts. And then Sam said, to be realistic, I don't think we would have a W versus Miami, but whatever happens, go Pack, go. Hey, that's always the case. So
keep listening, Samuel. We'll give you a good reason why we can win that game and how.
Exactly. Yep. That's how we do it. We're going to tell you how we can win and what needs to be done to do so. And we're going to give the optimistic version of that. So, let's go to Bryant first. Bryant, what did you see from the Packers defense against the Rams offense?
So the first play I want to talk about is the kickoff to start the second half. And it wasn't a big play, but the thing was, the Rams, when was the last time you guys seen a team kick away from one of our returners? I cannot remember the last time it happened.
It's been a long time.
Nixon had a couple of huge returns in the first half. So what do? They come out the second half, try to kick away from Nixon because it's probably too cold. They're not getting that ball to the end zone, right? So Nixon is bringing it out from anywhere at this point. So they kick it to this guy I've never heard of. That's just joking. I really haven't known much about him. Ballantine, just a special teams player for us.
Yeah.
To the 25. Picks it up. He gets it to the 32. That's not crazy like a return, but that's us starting, plus field 32.
7 yards past the touchback.
We're so used to start like before in the first half of the season, we're starting our 15 to our 20. That's a 10% of the field difference right there. We end up scoring on that drive. So, and Aaron Rodgers said it, like he talked about it on the Pat McAfee show. He talked about it in interviews, and he talked about it after the game. Like his last big shout out he gave was to Nixon for the fact that someone kicked away from him because he cannot remember the last time it happened. So even Aaron Rodgers is noticing, like, obviously we talked about that, him telling him to come out. So that was just a interesting play to me because I cannot, like, we hadn't scored a touchdown, I don't think, in like 21 like opening drives to start a game or a half, and we scored points on our first drive of the game and our first drive of the second half of this game. So that was a nice change for us. But just kicking away, I thought that was interesting. The second play I'm going to talk about is Quay Walker's sack. And Quay had a really good game. Probably his best game as a Packer, to be honest. Not only did he shot the gap on that one play, which was phenomenal, but that sack, it was really nice. If you go back and watch it, he started 5 yards back from the line of scrimmage. He was right at the first down marker, actually, for them. It was like 3rd and 5 or something, or whatever it was. He doesn't move until the ball is snapped. He gave no indication to anyone that he was rushing. They snapped the ball, and he's in the backfield and stripping Mayfield within 3 seconds. It was a play action fake. Mayfield rolled out, and he was Quay ran right past the tight end, and he was Quay Walker was right there. Dives at him, makes a nice play on the ball. If you go back and watch, Preston Smith didn't see the ball on the ground. If he sees the ball on the ground, we recover the fumble as well.
No, he did. He tried to pick it up standing up.
Oh, okay. Well,
he didn't try to fall on it because I was pissed. I was like, "You dumbass, just fall on the damn ball."
Yeah. Okay. Well, I must have missed that in the replay, but it looked like he didn't notice it or he just didn't react to it quickly enough. But either way, it was a great play by Quay Walker showing his speed, and I really thought it was my favorite part of the play was probably that he didn't indicate that he was blitzing at all. Like they had, a lot of times you'll see a hard count and the linebacker will run up and instantly the quarterback will know that they're probably blitzing. He didn't do that at all. He stayed home until the ball was snapped and then he was gone.
Yep.
So for me, the two things, one of them, Simon already brought him up as the underrated performer, is Kingsley Enagbare. So Jake kind of touched on it a little bit with him being so dedicated to pursuit, but I wanted to give him credit for a play where he diagnosed a play and then made the right play on the mental side of it. So Kingsley Enagbare is rushing off of, this would be, if you're the quarterback, he's on the left side. And he gets engaged with a block by Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee disengages the block and goes to set up a tight end screen. And Enagbare realizes it and doesn't go chasing Baker Mayfield. If he chases Baker Mayfield in that situation, Baker's just tossing the ball right over his head, and Higbee's running for a first down. Enagbare realizes it. If he realizes it just a split second sooner, he's gone for 6. But he realizes it. He kind of makes the play. He makes the play. He doesn't make the amazing part of the play, but just for him diagnosing that play as a rookie it's just another one of those things. Like I talked about with Christian Watson, like that is development that has happened this season.
On the fly,
Exactly. So the other one that I have is Preston Smith's second sack of the game. This stood out to me because it was the first play after Adrian Amos's 40-yard pass interference penalty. So first play, the defense responds right away. Preston Smith gets a sack, and I need to give credit to Jaron Reed on this play because Jaron Reed doesn't block his lineman towards the quarterback. He's not just bull rushing. He blocks his lineman to his left, which kind of chips Higbee just a little bit because Higbee was the one who was supposed to pick up Preston Smith. And by Jaron Reed just getting onto Higbee just a little bit, that opened up a hole that Preston Smith was able to get through and then go and get the sack. So I wanted to give Jaron Reed credit on that play for taking the right tackle into Higbee.
Did you guys see that stat about the sacks?
Mm-mm.
So since Gary's been out, the Packers have had like 7 sacks or whatever. And against the Rams, they had 5.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like,
that was something
what?
that I talked about last week too. Was how much production we're not getting. Like the sack department is just not there. So it was really awesome to see him come out and just obliterate a line that they should have. Right. I know the Rams are dealing with a ton of injuries and stuff, so it was really nice to see them do what they should be doing.
Yeah, and people are going to say it's just the Rams, to your credit, but it's like that's still an NFL team. Those are still NFL players, and
they won a Super Bowl last year.
And sometimes that you should do it doesn't happen. So for that to happen, you just give credit and you move on.
Yeah.
But just because it's the Rams and it's just the Bears, like that doesn't matter. Those are wins.
Kate said, I watched the interview with Connor. Awesome jobs. Can't wait to see him with the Badgers. Kate, did you mean Cole? You mean Cole LaCrew? That was the guy we had on.
I think she meant Cole, but it was like, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate that. He was an awesome guest. Sam said, for sure, Nixon's going to get paid next year. Just thinking if we had Nixon since the first, we would probably be a 10-win team at this time. I don't know if I'd go as far as 10.
I would say flip our record. I would say we'd be at least 8-6 or 9-5 because we made a lot of mistakes.
I think the two that I'd say we win would be the Giants game and the Commanders game. So I agree with you on the. I agree with you.
We could have won the Lions game too, man.
That's fair, but I mean, like
coulda, shoulda.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but definitely the Giants game. There's no way.
Now I'm just worried about trying to get him locked up because he's gonna get the fact that he's like leading the league in 30+ yard returns, and he's only been returning for like 6 weeks is insane.
Dude, wait till I give you just pump the brakes on Keyshawn Nixon. I don't think he's going anywhere. When we get into some previews.
He loves Bisaccia. Him and Rodgers seem to have a really, really good relationship now. So I mean,
Yeah.
that stuff matters. I saw that with the hugging. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Saw that.
Rodgers gave him a hug or whatever. Did you read that?
Yeah. He's like, it took till week 7 before I could hug him.
Yeah, because I guess
he's like, get off me, man.
He walked in. Yeah, the first time he walked in, Rodgers wanted to hug him or whatever, and he said, "Get off me" or "Don't touch me." Because he's like I'm a really reserved guy. I'm like kind of in my shell.
Bill's getting ahead.
Are you talking about Rich or Nixon?
No. Nixon.
No, Nixon.
I don't think Rich is playing the
so terrible leader Aaron Rodgers wanted to give Nixon a hug right away, and
he's a piece of shit asshole.
You don't want it? What a terrible teammate trying to hug his teammate and show them
whatever you want to call him. That's what Rodgers is. He's not nice.
That's hilarious. That's pretty.
It was funny to see that little interview. Larry McCarron posted on Packers.com.
Mm-hmm.
Kate, we understand thinking about Connor from basketball. He's fun to watch.
He is.
So yeah, Bill's getting ahead of me. I got lots of Keyshawn Nixon stuff this week. I got lots. So I'm gonna get there. Yes, Nixon wants to play the slot. I'm gonna get there. So stick around for that. It's coming up soon. Simon, what 2 plays stood out to you from the defense?
I want to go back to I just kind of want to add to Bryant on Quay Walker. This was probably his best game as a Packer. So he graded 87 on PFF overall defense, and he had a sack, a forced fumble on only 4 pass rushing snaps, and he also had a tackle for loss and 2 run stops. So he had a phenomenal game. I'm sorry, what?
and the pass defense where people were trying to rip him for not
Yeah,
intercepting the ball.
Well,
He
he
just
had
fully
two of
reached
them,
out
right?
for.
Yeah,
he had two of them because
He had two,
he had
yeah.
the one on the sideline
And then
where
one in the
he
end
could have
zone.
picked
and one
it,
at the goal line.
and then one in the end
The
zone.
fact
Though, I
that he
think
even got
did.
his hands on the one in the end zone is insane.
It was
Yeah.
crazy.
It was
Did you guys
unbelievable.
notice
people
where
in
he,
my section that were like, "Oh, I can't believe he didn't catch that." I'm like, if he catches that, he should be in the Olympics.
Yeah, people are
Fucking
saying
A.
that, on the sideline one too, that he should have caught that. He's fully stretched out. I mean, he's trying to make a
Yeah.
play. It's not like he just dropped it and hit
he
him in the
was
chest.
this
okay?
close, and he
Yeah.
would have been gone.
Yeah,
But did you
that's
guys
what I'm
notice he
saying.
was rushing from the outside?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was
At
so
least on
excited
his
for
blitz
that.
too. Yeah.
He had
And
a.
I
He's
got
had
something
an
to say when you do
amazing
the
game.
injury report, but keep going. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, just add on to other stuff that he did on that game. That was his best game of the year, in my opinion. December Kenny Clark. He was just. I mean, he made a statement in the first, I think, drive. He had a tackle for a loss where he just blew up the middle of the line, and then he also, I think, the play right afterwards. He nailed Akers right at the line of scrimmage. So he ended up the night with 4 pressures, 2 hits, 2 hurries, 2 tackles for loss. I mean, he had a really good game too. It's good to see him coming out. I think I've kind of said Kenny's kind of had a disappointing year, but it's good to see him ramping up when we need him the most. And then the other one, someone already kind of mentioned it too, is Devontae Wyatt, man. I swear we've been saying this every time he gets on the field, he makes a play. Like, he wasn't. Hold on, I have a stat right here. Oh, he's a stat guy.
He can't get
He
over
had a
9
sack.
snaps.
Huh? Yeah, and
can't-
he
it's
only
like
had 9 snaps.
every game.
He's only had 9 snaps, but he had a sack and a run stop, and he graded out pretty well on limited obviously limited time, so might average out a little bit, but like, this is the stuff you like to see out of rookies. You go out there and you're in the time the coaches give you, and you make plays. So it's good to see him out there and making plays, man. I'm excited for his development, to be honest.
Yeah, I love the potential he has as a prospect.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say about this game?
No, I'm excited to talk after Brian gives us the injury report.
All right, Brian, give us the injury report.
So really, there wasn't much to report other than David Bakhtiari. Always injured David Bakhtiari can't play.
Cut him.
So
The fact that he hasn't returned after 2 weeks from an emergency appendectomy is ridiculous.
what a
He's probably
loser.
in the emergency room drinking Miller Lights,
Yeah.
probably why his appendix burst in the first place. He just drinking beer.
The only other injury of consequence is the potential Teron Armstead, who's a really good left tackle for the Dolphins, doesn't play. I mean, they have Eric Fisher on the injury report, but I think he's like 2 or 3 on their depth chart, and some way backup wide receiver too is doubtful as well. But Teron Armstead is the big one. If he can't go, he didn't practice, and then was limited Friday, so that makes me think he probably will play. But we'll see.
So what I'm going to say is, I was talking about Quay rushing from the outside, and I saw Chris Barnes was a participant, and he's questionable, I believe. So to me, that says that he's playing. So if we can get Chris Barnes back and put Chris Barnes in the middle and have Quay Walker rush on the outside with Enigbare and Smith, and kind of just create like a NASCAR type package, I think that lineup with all those linebackers going to get Tua could speed him up. I would love the potential of that. Let Quay Walker chase down.
Barnes doesn't have an injury status, so he's playing.
Designation.
The only person with injury designation on our whole report is David Bakhtiari is doubtful.
Oh yeah, you're right. I just saw Chris Barnes in there, and I was like, oh man, if he's back, I like Quay Walker moving him around. I think he could be like a crazy guy that we put like, okay, we're gonna rush him A gap, we're gonna rush him on the outside. Okay, we're gonna stunt with Preston Smith. Like, I love all the
put him at safety.
Yeah. Shit.
He's fast enough for it. He's fast enough for it.
He's got the hops too.
I mean, we watch Morgan Burnett run, so I mean, Quay Walker's definitely as fast as Morgan Burnett.
Yeah, I love Morgan Burnett.
I hated that guy.
Really? I loved him.
Yeah, dude, he was talked about as so good, and then he would always give up like an 80-yard bomb. I'm like, this guy's good?
You hated
He
him?
always wanted to get up in the box and make tackles. Like,
No, I did not like Morgan Burnett.
Oh, I loved Morgan Burnett.
Dude, I'm like
I
the
have a
weirdest
throwback
Packers fan of all
jersey.
time. I didn't like John Kuhn either.
What?
You go to bed?
Bro, you're weird, man.
Dude, okay. Part of it is the fans. I hated when it was like a 3rd and 3 and we ran Kuhn and everybody in the goddamn country and their kids and their unborn children knew it was going to John Kuhn and they handed off their Kuhn. I'm like, fucking idiot, we have to punt. You idiots. Why? I don't. Oh
That's
my God.
like part of the what's it called? Like, it's
Give me Najee Davenport over Kuhn though.
Dude,
Man,
it was really the fans. John Kuhn seems like a cool guy. I didn't, but I just hated that. I knew we were giving him the ball on 3rd and short.
I love John Kuhn, man.
So annoying. Sorry.
Sam said, I believe this has been one of the best drafts lately.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Strongly agree. Strongly
100%.
agree.
We'll do a good review of it in the offseason, and I'm super excited to talk about it.
Definitely.
But I'm worried about the playoffs right now.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to start talking about some offense stuff first. I'm going to go first, and I want to talk about Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs because I've been so excited for the potential of both of these two getting on the field now that they've both kind of had their breakouts, and we've barely had it at all. But we got them together. Romeo Doubs only played 23 snaps, and in those 23 snaps, he had 5 catches on 5 targets. And I believe he was the Packers' highest graded offensive player as well.
Yes.
And then Christian Watson had 4 receptions on 6 targets for 46 yards. Matt LaFleur was talking about them. He said they've come a long way and they have much in front of them, much more in front of them, is what he said. And I think that's how we all feel about it. He did say that they need to get Christian Watson the ball earlier. He didn't have his first catch until the first drive of the second half. So he did say they need to get Christian Watson the ball earlier. I saw somebody say that Jalen Ramsey owned Christian Watson.
He didn't.
And I'm like, first of all, he got away with a pass interference in the first half.
Seriously, he tried to take his freaking pants off. What was going on with that?
Yeah, he just tackled him in the end zone, and there's no call on that, which still annoys me. But the other thing is, like, tell me you don't watch football without telling me you don't watch football. You watch the game, and there's constantly safety help over the top. Why do you think Romeo Doubs was open on 25% of the plays that he ran? He had 5 catches on 23 snaps.
Facts.
So, I mean, Christian Watson's already creating that.
Didn't Ramsey get a holding call later in the game on Watson?
Yeah, he got one in the end zone that gave us a new set of downs.
Yep.
Yeah,
and people would say the one in the end zone, the other one at the first drive was incidental contact. But if you watch it, Ramsey, he's savvy. He ran the way he did to trip him up.
Yeah, I agree.
In my opinion. Hey, it's a savvy play. It is what it is.
Bill said they both made some contested catches. That made a difference in the Rams game. We're going to need them both to show up in Miami. And I think the team, by releasing Sammy Watkins and even Amari Rodgers by extension, showed that they have confidence in the two of them. And Samari Toure by extension, because at that point, it's not even just, keeping the guys on the team for depth and just giving them less snaps. That's just straight up saying, like, hey, we trust this guy to occupy the 4th spot, and we trust these 2 guys to occupy the 1st and the 3rd, or the 2nd and 3rd spots on the depth chart. So we're comfortable going forward with these guys and still having Randall Cobb, who is back healthy, which is nice to see.
There was one
Packers.
Oh,
if I asked you the Packers 1 and 2, number 1 and number 2 wide receivers, who would you say at this point? I would say Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, at least from the explosive,
it's Lazard and Watson.
It's still Lazard by this much, by this much on Doubs, but it's very close.
But that, and I love Lazard, don't get me wrong, but that's what makes me so excited about these two is the fact that they're already pushing to be the number 1 and 2 targets on this team.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I'm excited, honestly. Like a trio of Lazard, Doubs, and Watson. Like, I'm totally.
You can win a lot of games with that.
Would you have said that week 1?
No, not until they develop. Exactly.
Yeah,
but we got this draft coming up too. They could get another weapon or two, and then we still got the good running backs. We got our alignment. We got our linemen locked up. I mean,
give us a serious weapon at tight end, and people are in trouble.
Hey, Alan Lazard and Robert Tonyan are tied for 2nd in receptions on the team.
Oh wow!
It just
Who do you
seems like
think leads the
Tunyon
Packers
hasn't
in
done much
receptions?
since the first quarter or half of the year.
Give me a guess. Who you think leads the Packers in receptions?
Aaron Jones.
It's probably Tunyon. It's either Tunyon or Lazard, but
Simon, you want to guess?
Oh, man, I know at one point it was Tunyon, but his usage has been down lately.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Lazard or
Jake
Jones.
is right. It's Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones has 52 receptions. Lazard and Tunyon are tied for second at 46.
Ooh.
did you guys see that stat about before we get too far off? Did you see that stat about Watson? You guys were at the game. You didn't see it. I think I shared it in our chat. So for receivers to have 7+ touchdowns, it was Watson at like 46 targets. or
Oh,
receptions.
yeah, the rookies.
Every
yes.
other wide receiver in the NFL with 7 touchdowns has at least 90 receptions.
All right. How do you not think that he has the highest ceiling of this rookie class? Come on, man. If this
The
guy
other
has
one that I
90
saw
catches,
was-
he's going to have 14 touchdowns?
The other stat that I saw was that he has more touchdowns than Olave and Garrett Wilson combined.
Oh, he does.
And they Olave has 106 targets. Wilson has upper 90s, and then Watson has 46.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Olave is nice and he's a great route runner, but he does not have he's explosive too, but I think Watson has a level of explosiveness he doesn't have. He has the size he doesn't have, and he has the blocking ability he doesn't have.
Yep.
So that's where I'm really excited. I'm not saying that Watson will be better than Olave. I'm saying that the potential is there.
Okay, I'll say it. Watson's going to be better than Olave. I'll say it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
I'm willing to say
I
it.
hope so, man.
So this is what Rodgers said about the pair. Aaron Rodgers said that Romeo Doubs is a very crisp route runner. So, giving credit to his young guys.
Mhm.
And then he said that Christian Watson is so explosive. And then Aaron Rodgers also gave credit to Matt LaFleur for the play that Jake described where they used Christian Watson in motion before the snap to get him moving full speed. Aaron Rodgers gave credit to Matt LaFleur for using Christian Watson's skills to scheme him open and get him the ball. So honestly, I think that people I see still complaining about chemistry and still complaining about Rodgers not being at OTAs, the chemistry's fine in my opinion. I think their chemistry is great, honestly, especially listening to the way the guys talk about each other. I don't think there's a single problem with any of the chemistry right now.
I can't believe I'm still seeing that shit either this far in the season. It's just it's just such a bad take in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
And Bill said Watson fell victim to the national media know-it-alls who said he was injury prone early in the season. He had an injury to clean something up before it became a bigger deal, and then he got a concussion.
Yeah.
And then he got ruled out early in a game for a concussion that wasn't even a concussion.
Right. They were just playing it safe.
Which I
God
100%
forbid they
agree
care
with
about player
Packers.
safety.
I 100% agree with the Packers' decision to do that.
Okay, so this is in this game. 13 snaps. They were on the field together in this game. Aaron Rodgers was 7 for 7 for 91 yards and a touchdown when Doubs and Watson were on the field together.
Give me 60 snaps together, baby.
Man.
Can't wait.
So
I
far
can't
this
wait.
season, all season, Aaron Rodgers, when both of them are on the field, Aaron Rodgers is 20 of 24 passing.
That's disgusting.
That is awesome. That makes
They
me feel
complement each other so well. I just love it.
That's exactly
so
the
too.
next
And
thing
then-
I have written down. Is that Doubs will benefit from the eyes on Christian Watson. He motioned, and Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs were lined up on the same side. And Christian Watson motioned over this way, over across the formation, off to the it was on the weak side of the field. 3 defensive backs took steps to their left towards the side that Christian Watson was on. And Romeo Doubs had a one-on-one. He ran a great route and got a catch on the strong side of the field for a first down. That's Christian Watson is already changing games.
Yeah, man.
Hey, if you have I got a
Changing
question.
games, literally.
Just to talk about Lazard a little bit. If you have Watson and Lazard on one side, is there a better blocking wide receiver duo in the league than those two?
Dude, they're both 6'5". Think about that.
Put Big
Dude.
Dog on the end of the line, run on
Oh,
outside, run on
dude.
that side.
You
Good luck.
just said something that gave me an awesome idea. You put Watson and Lazard on the same, put them next to each other. Run a wide receiver screen for Christian Watson. Let him have Alan Lazard out in front of him.
Big dog filling off the block. Good luck. I can't wait. So much potential.
I love it. Okay. So, Simon, talk to me about the red zone offense.
Sorry. Yeah, it's been kind of shaky this year. So when the Packers are in the red zone, they only convert a touchdown on 52.27% of plays, which is 20th in the league. And I remember seeing the stat show up during the game, and I knew it wasn't that great because the offense has been kind of shaky this year in general. But that's something that they just have to pick up on. When your defense has been kind of also shaky during the year, you have to put more than 3 on the board, especially upcoming against Miami, who's been a very fast team in scoring in general. So if we're sitting there only putting 7 on the board when we're in the red zone 50% of the time, I mean, that's not going to work when you're facing better teams. And it was it's just like a bad sequence of events too that led to like the 3 points, because the first time they showed it was in the first time they got in the red zone. And I mean, it was, yes, it should have probably been a pass interference called, but it just sucks to get all the way down the field, take a long time on drives, and only come away with 3 points.
All right. So for me on the offense, the other thing that I want to talk about is Keyshawn Nixon. What's up, Taylor? We appreciate that. Taylor's a nice guy. All right. So this is weird to be bringing up during the offensive segment of this preview, but Keyshawn Nixon wants to play slot receiver. Now, I went and looked, and I wanted to see, like, has this happened before? Has a defensive back flipped and started playing slot receiver, or have guys taken snaps at slot receiver? And it's happened. So it's happened. I want to say, I just want to preface this before I get into these players, but I want to preface this by saying no, it's not going to happen. He's our kick returner, our punt returner, and our cornerback. And I'm going to get into some snap counts in a little bit too, about why he's not going to be playing slot receiver. But we need to keep him healthy. We need him at the positions that he's playing currently. In addition to our rookies needing to continue developing. But to entertain the idea, maybe a wildcat situation where you give him just 1 or 2 snaps, just to give him a chance to get Keyshawn Nixon the ball in space, because we've seen what he can do with it. Now listen, it's been done, and I have 4 examples. One of them is 2004 Troy Brown for the New England Patriots. He's listed as a wide receiver / defensive back that year. He had 3 interceptions, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries on defense, in addition to 17 tackles. On offense, he also had 17 receptions for 104 yards and a touchdown and 11 first downs.
Wow. That's pretty damn good, actually.
Not even close to my most impressive example. Next, I want to bring up, this is weird because I'm going to give the Detroit Lions credit for something. Feels weird. Next one is Mike Furry. He's actually listed on Football Reference as a DB / wide receiver. He spent 2 years on the Rams as a wide receiver, 1 as a free safety, and then he goes to Detroit in 2006, and he has 98 receptions on 146 targets for 1,085 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Never heard of this dude.
The season before, on the Rams as a free safety, he had 4 interceptions, 1 of them for a pick 6, 8 passes defensed, 3 fumble recoveries, and 58 tackles.
Holy cow. Just an athlete.
Yeah, wow.
Apparently. Speaking of athletes, the next one I have as an example is Deion Sanders.
Maybe the best athlete of all time.
I'm very open to that possibility.
Looking like a hell of a coach, too.
True. So, 1996, he's listed as a wide receiver and cornerback. He had 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, 3 fumble recoveries, 1 defensive touchdown, and 33 tackles. On the offensive side of the ball, he had 36 receptions for 475 yards and a touchdown.
Neon.
Interesting.
Now listen, this last example, it goes back pretty far. But it's 1981 Roy Green from the St. Louis Rams. So he played first 3 years of his career as a safety and then flipped the rest of his years as a wide receiver. But in 1981, he had 3 interceptions and also 33 receptions for 708 yards and 4 touchdowns. That was a 21.5 yards per reception.
Jesus.
Oh,
So basically just lined him up and they just sling that shit.
I think it would be
Still-
so fun. I know I agree with you, Tyler, that it's probably not gonna happen, but I think it'd be so fun just to bring him out and like even do a fake end around to him or something, because the defense is gonna be looking like, oh, he's on the field, he's probably for sure gonna get
right.
the ball. Just put him on there for eye candy, if anything.
That's what I'm saying. Like just like a wildcat situation. Like
if
You
he
know,
was on the
maybe-
field, I would use Watson as the decoy with the fake.
That's
and
what I'm
then,
saying.
and do like a quick out to
I think-
Nixon. He's great in space with the ball, right?
exactly.
Fake it
so
to
many
Watson.
opportunities from it.
Give it to Nixon, let him shake and bake, right? That's what I would do.
It'd be
Or
fun.
use Nixon as you could start Nixon wide on one side, bring him across the other way,
Yeah.
run a screen to him so he's getting the ball in motion, just like it's a punt return or a kick return. He's
I
getting the
gotta see
ball and he's
Nixon
already
catch a
in
ball
motion.
from Rodgers first. Feel great about whipping him, 30 yards out.
We're all going crazy. I agree with that.
So this is the last things I gotta say about Roy Green. So in 1983 and 1984, he was all pro as a wide receiver after playing 3 years at safety. 1983, he had 14 touchdowns and led the NFL.
Wow.
What the hell?
1984, he had 12 touchdowns and 1,555 yards, which led the NFL.
Kid ate his Wheaties. Jesus.
That's a great season even nowadays.
Yeah.
He was wasting his time at safety, man.
Yeah.
That's what he thought too. He's like, fuck this.
He said, "Give me the
I'm
ball,
flipping
man."
it.
I'm
Give me
running
the
after
ball.
So it has been done using some defensive backs as wide receivers. I just thought it'd be fun to look up some examples.
I wonder if he
And,
played wide receiver in college or
that's awesome.
high school.
There's lots of examples of that, of guys doing it
yeah.
in college.
I was gonna
but-
say, usually you see it the other way around though. Usually you see wide receiver slip to defensive back.
it's like there's examples of both, and in college there's way more examples, but I wanted to give some NFL examples and really discuss like the realistic possibilities of it. But so before we get into some more nuanced stuff, most of it on the defensive side of the ball, give me some matchups that you guys are watching from the Packers offense against Miami's defense, and then Bryant is going to tell us how to beat the Miami Dolphins. So, Jake, give me a matchup you're watching from the Packers offense.
Matchup I'm watching on offense
Yep.
is well, we've been talking about him a lot. We're going to talk about a little bit more right now. Christian Watson versus Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard is known as one of the best corners in the league. He's a ball hawk. Obviously, we know that. He can just rack up the interceptions and track down the ball with the best of them. So I think Watson's got to win that battle. And I do think that they're going to have him on Watson because Watson, I believe, is our number one. But if I was the Dolphins, and I'm not cheering for them or anything, I would put Howard on Dubs, try to have him neutralize Dubs, and then just double team Watson. That's what I would do. But I think that Watson can definitely take the top off of any defense. So if you take him and he beats Howard deep a couple times, I think that's going to be a shot to the Dolphins. And the Dolphins aren't great on defense, by the way. But I'm not going to go into any numbers. I was like, I'm not going to steal any of Bryant's thunder today.
Hey,
I'm gonna
Bryant,
let
what's the matchup you're watching?
Yeah, I'm watching the same matchup as him.
Yes.
And the reason I'm doing that is because Xavier Howard is a good corner. We'll see. I think what you just said at the end there is putting him on Dobbs. That'd probably be their better option. But Xavier Howard is a good quarter, but he has allowed what the numbers I found was 40 receptions for 573 yards. But the thing is, his target separation is 1.8 yards average. If you run Watson and get him behind Xavier Howard by 1.8 yards, or even a crosser and he's in front of him by 1.8 yards, he's not catching him.
That's like
Okay.
5 feet of separation.
Yeah, that's his average separation when targeted. So, I mean, he's letting up separation. So if Like if Watson can get behind him or he can run a crosser and get in front of him, there's a really good chance for some yak. So,
All right, Simon, what's a matchup you're watching?
Yeah, since Bakhtiari is he's listed as doubtful, but he's probably not going to play. I got Zach Thomas back in there. They got a pretty solid group of pass rushers in Miami with Jalen Phillips, Melvin Ingram, and Bradley Chubb. I think Zach Tom's going to have his hands full. But I mean, he played well last game. He came away with 0 sacks. The sack ended up being on Josh Nyman for what's his name, Leonard Floyd. He ended up with like an 88 or 87 pass rush grade. So I'm looking at Zach Tom versus the pass rushers. I mean, he's been playing pretty well this year. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for his development too. Starts. What's that?
Especially for a rookie who's making spots.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, so for me, I'm going to be watching snap counts. I ended up looking these up and kind of taking some things away from it. But for me, I'm looking at the snap counts of the wide receivers. I mentioned Romeo Doubs only played 23 snaps. Obviously, I think that's going to increase, maybe double even. Last week, Allen Lazard led the wide receivers at snaps. He played about 97% of snaps. Christian Watson played about 94% of snaps. So I think that's where that's probably going to stay. And then Romeo Doubs is going to keep steadily increasing as the rest of the season goes on. But I'm watching the wide receiver snap counts just because the Packers wide receiving room, regardless of what happens the rest of the season record-wise, that to me is going to be one of the biggest indicators of what the Packers do in the offseason going into next season. So I'm watching that wide receiver room just like a hawk because not only are we developing rookies, but Allen Lazard is a free agent. So I'm watching the wide receivers just all together. So Bill said, I think the Packers are going to try and go deep to Watson early. He said, I'm saying that because I think we need to spread out the Dolphins defense for the run game. And I mean, that's how it works. You use one to set up the other, and then you keep them guessing on which one you're going to use. And being able to attack both ways is how you put together a good offense. And then obviously having the right play calls. But so, Bryant, how do the Packers beat the Dolphins?
Hey, and I want to go off of that comment real quick, actually, and give go some more of these stats over Xavier Howard that I missed. So going deep to him, Xavier Howard has given up catches of 75, 59, 47, and 55 on the year. So, and just about 50, and he's actually given up, PFF is saying he's given up 695 yards and 339 of which is yak. So if we can get Watson against him, the yak could go a little crazy.
So
Dubs could go crazy. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying too. Even if they single Dubs on him, don't get me wrong, Dubs isn't like completely polished as a route runner yet, but when you already have Aaron Rodgers saying he runs really crispy routes, he's going to be able to get that separation. So
I'll say Rodgers can kind of help throw him open a little bit too.
Yeah, so I'm about to show a bunch of stats down your throat here. So everyone is worried about the Dolphins, rightfully so, because they have two huge weapons on their team. But other than that, I'm telling you, this team does not do a whole lot well. So they don't run the ball well. They're the sixth worst against run. They don't stop the run particularly well. Oh, you'll see the sixth worst or sixth best a lot. It's weird. It's like in every category. But anyways, they don't stop the run particularly well. They do give up. They have the seventh lowest yards given up in the league, but they allow 4.4 yards per average. That's because they are. It's because people don't run the ball against them, right? They're like sixth least attempts against or whatever. They aren't good against the pass, so they're sixth worst in yards per game, fifth most touchdowns against, and third worst completion percentage at like 68 point something. They're middle of the pack rushing the passer and against the pass rush. They have a negative turnover ratio. They're towards the bottom of in special teams, giving up returns and stuff. They do have a good passing offense, but that is like one thing that's been our strength. We're like top 5 in yards against, which is crazy because we play so soft and stuff. More on that later. But to beat this game, so they have one of the highest percentages on third down for teams converting against them. Bottom half of the league, 43% of the 0.7% of the time they give up the conversion on third down, and on offense, they only convert 37.7% of the time, and then they're the 8th most penalized team in the league. So I think really if we can have a clean game against them, we should be right there, and it might be down to who has the ball last. So for me, and I'm kind of giving away my keys to victory right here, but controlling the clock or the time of possession and playing a cleaner game, like I turnover penalties, I think that's how you beat this team. They've been struggling scoring lately. Oh, 1 second. So let me look. I have to scroll for these stats, but so they're giving up 24.6 points per game, which is tied for 6th worst in the league. The Packers scored 20.5, but they're actually at 26.6 over the last 5 games. The Packers are. So, granted, their defense is given about the same number, the Packers defense, but so our offense has been playing a lot better. But so I think either running the ball really well or controlling it through a really clean pass game, which is possible because of their percentage given up, is how we can win this game, just controlling the clock.
Sounds good. So, Jake, talk to me about the Packers playing ball on defense.
So I wanted to talk about this because when I was watching that Rams game, I was like, man, these guys, they could have had, we talked about they could have had all these interceptions, right? We talked about Quay Walker. We talked about Barre. I mean, I thought there was one where Mayfield kind of threw late, and it looked like it was on the left sideline, on the Rams sideline, and it looked like Jair could have had a pick if he would have been looking for the ball. He was looking to just kill the wide receiver. And then we did get the interception against Mayfield, right, with Rasul Douglas. So in 5 of the last 6 games, the Green Bay Packers have at least 1 interception. Now, I know that's not like a crazy stat, but we're getting the ball back to the offense for an extra possession at least once. We've had a couple games with 2. And then this is where it gets a little interesting for me. So Tua Tagovailoa has played very, very well this year. Obviously the addition of Tyreek Hill will help any
very safe
quarterback.
With the ball.
Yes, he is. He's only has 5 interceptions, right? All 5 of his interceptions have come when the Dolphins have been trailing. So that's one key. And he has not thrown an interception at home this season.
Time for that to change.
Time for that shit to change, right? So I like the trend of the Packers being more aggressive. I don't like the trend of him not throwing a pick at home, but I do like the trend of him playing from behind. So if I'm Green Bay, I'm taking that ball, I'm running it down their goddamn soft-ass throats down there in Miami, and we're going to make Tua try to catch up to us. That's what I think. So we're going to go out there, and we're going to punk these fools, man. I'm so excited for this game, bro. I just want to put a helmet on one time and just fucking run into somebody. God damn it.
But, Kenny Clark style?
Man, dude, I would just go crazy, man. Like, fuck you. You're on the other side. I'm going to hit the hell out of you. But
Brian,
I think the
done
Packers
yet?
could go crazy.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
All right. I was trying to make a really nice transition from you wanting to put a helmet on and crack somebody like Kenny Clark, and I was going to be like, "Yeah, Brian, talk about Kenny Clark."
But you just kept talking, Jake.
He's pumped. Leave him alone.
I'm the juices are pumping now.
Yeah.
Now I'm ready to go.
Oh my god.
You guys don't make everything sexual, you weirdos.
Listen, you said soft ass throat and the juices are pumping within 25 seconds of each other. That's on you.
Come on, man.
Anyways,
how long have we been talking?
I work with children.
Anyways,
I work with a bunch of perverts. So
choose your words better.
So Kenny Clark, I can't say much what that hasn't been said already in the show for the last couple games. Anyways, he's become a December Kenny again, and if we're gonna make the playoffs, we really need it. That game against the Rams was phenomenal, and we're gonna need that against that maybe more to beat the Dolphins. If he can continue to collapse the pocket and help those edge rushers get home, it's gonna be huge for us. You could see he really struggled in the middle of the season once Rashawn Gary went out and they started doubling him again. I think his first 4 games or whatever, he was playing like phenomenal. And then he kind of, fell out. We were like for 5 or 6 weeks, we were just like, what is going on with him? And then now the last couple of games he's played well. So go ahead.
Can I throw something out there? I don't know if this is true or not, but have they been moving guys around in the defensive line as often as they were earlier in the season?
No, but you know what they are doing? They're stunting them now. They're stunting them now, which
I will
really,
say I
really
haven't
love.
I haven't seen Kenny Clark like I remember the first game we seen one package where it was like Rashawn and Kenny kicked way out wide one direction.
Yeah, like
The middle was wide open.
I haven't seen as many of the guys moving around the defensive line as much. And honestly, like we've run a lot of 2-down lineman sets, so like I get that that's part of it, but I just feel like as you're talking about it, like I'm thinking back, and I'm like, I feel like we haven't seen Kenny lined up at defensive end a lot, and we haven't seen a lot of the Slaytons, or like I'm going to get into it. We haven't even seen as much of Dean Lowry as much.
Yeah. And this is kind of where I know Devontae Wyatt still needs to learn his scheme and all that stuff and to play within the scheme and stuff a little bit better. But this is where I wish we did see 20 snaps a game from him on third down. Every third down he's on the field, because I feel like teams are going to realize his pass rushing ability, his explosiveness next to Kenny, and it's just going to create some issues. And that's kind of where the high risk, high reward play, where you're playing the rookie, where he still doesn't completely know the scheme, or I'm not going to say he doesn't know the scheme. He's just learning how to play in the NFL still. But I kind of wish we would see him more than 9 snaps. But yeah, with Kenny Clark, if we need all pro bowler Kenny Clark over the next 3 games to really have a good shot at wrecking some teams here. And,
it is really interesting, actually.
In the playoffs.
Dean Lowry only had 11 snaps.
Oh, you fucker.
Oh, my bad. I was when people are talking, I like looking shit up when I'm.
I have the snap counts.
All right, everyone just forget I just said that.
I have snap counts. I literally have them. I even made a banner for it.
Okay.
The banner says snap counts. So everybody that doesn't already know this, Dean Lowry played 11 snaps on Monday night.
Thanks, Tyler.
How many?
I appreciate your.
He played 11.
Holy cow!
Your research goes.
Before he blurted that out, he's just like, all right.
Your research goes a long way for this.
Tyler's got some thunder there. Let me steal some of that. So we all want to see Devontae Wyatt on the field more, and I get that. But as far as the social media goes, Dean Lowry played 11 snaps.
He did.
As far as social media goes, can we just look stuff up before we get mad about it?
No, I would just rather be mad.
So there's Devontae Wyatt needs more snaps. He should take some from Lowry. He doesn't do anything. You can type in Packers versus Rams snap counts. You can get a list. It'll tell you in order the percentage and the number of snaps that the guys played. Dean Lowry, for those who haven't already heard, played 11 snaps. Devontae Wyatt played 9. It's not like Dean Lowry's playing 35 snaps. Jaron Reed played 28 snaps. Kenny Clark played 32. The Rams ran 45 plays. Oof. Kenny Clark is the only guy who played more than 2/3 of the snaps.
This game could have easily been like 38-12, by the way. I know we didn't talk about that, but yeah, no, that's crazy. 45.
I was saying that earlier too.
So going on the defensive line, yes, Bill, it is easier to complain than do the research. So on the defensive line, Kenny Clark 32, Jaron Reed 28, Dean Lowry 11, and Jaron Reed 9. Slayton had a couple, but we're not
10.
even seeing as much Slayton, and that's why I kind of brought up too. Doing a lot of 2-down linemen is happening a lot.
Interesting.
And it's probably going to continue, especially with Chris Barnes being healthy. So that's probably a trend that's going to continue.
And because the Dolphins are pass happy.
Right. So at least just look it up before you're going to complain about who should be getting snaps from who. Because Dean Lowry only played 2 more snaps than Jaron Reed did on Monday night.
Or if you don't want to look it up, you can just watch us on Friday nights.
Yeah, and watch Simon spoil it for me. I'm just kidding. Because I got more. I have more than just the
right.
line.
I like spoiling shit.
His whole show hinged on Dean Lowry's snap count, and you ruined it for him.
Ruined the whole.
This is the segment we were waiting for.
I got more. I got more outside of the D line. So the other couple things I want to bring up: Rudy Ford played 100% of the snaps at safety. Darnell Savage, just take a guess how many defensive snaps Darnell Savage played.
He played 1, and he gave up a 17-yard freaking catch on the first third down of the game.
He played 1.
It was 1.
1 defensive snap.
He had
I
two
really did.
special team snaps though.
No,
I
he
didn't
had
look it up.
nine. He had
I
nine.
remember
I
I remember the play because I messaged Simon right. I think I messaged Simon right. I was like, "What is Darnell Savage doing? Like, why is he backpedaling?"
Bro, I have no idea what he was doing.
Well, clearly
He
he didn't either.
and that's why he didn't play anymore.
So Darnell Savage played 10 snaps in this game, one
What?
on defense and 9 on
okay.
special teams.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can at least develop
Fine.
into like a
He's fast
gunner
enough to
on
be a gunner.
punt and kickoffs, like give me something. Otherwise he's gonna end up getting traded for like a 6th-round pick or something like that.
Interestingly enough, he blows a lot of coverages. I wonder if he'll see a few more snaps this game because of his speed. We'll see. But I mean, it doesn't matter because when he catches them, he has trouble tackling him anyway. But hopefully, maybe he'll shock
Oh
us
my
all.
God, kick a man when he's down, Bryant.
Hey, who was that player? Who was the player I was doing?
Okay, Bryant is a
It was
Dominican
Dean
Sue
Lowry,
over here.
but
This guy on the ground. Let me just stomp on him real quick.
I will. Hey, I don't feel bad for stomping on someone that's guaranteed $7 million next year. Dude will make more money next year than I will in most of my life. So,
All right. So last 2 snap counts I want to bring up are the running backs. Aaron Jones played 40. He had 21 touches on 21 opportunities and scored a touchdown. And then AJ Dillon only played 28 snaps.
yeah,
He had
held him out
14
after that
touches.
injury.
14 touches on 14 opportunities and scored 2 touchdowns.
God damn.
We're talking
That's
December
efficiency
Kenny. We
from your
might need
backfield.
to start saying December Dylan too.
December Dillon, I'm down for
Double
it.
D.
Double D.
See, now I'm on the dirty train. I like that one.
No, when you say double D, I think of Ed Nettie instantly.
Yeah.
Ha! Great show.
That's not
We're
where
not gonna
my mind
we're not gonna
goes.
talk about that, but that's a great show.
Plank.
Like, move it, double D. All right. So, I can look into that. I can look into AJ Dillon in December and maybe make a graphic out of it. But listen, we're all laughing and having fun. Jake, talk to me about the Packers having fun.
Man, I remember defending Floor when he said this. When he said that the Packers just need to get back to having fun. Do you guys remember all the fans clowning him?
Yeah.
Because we were losing games. The thing about that is he knows that it goes along the lines of when you look good, you feel good, you play good, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
To throw it back to Deion Sanders again, who once said that a long time ago. But the Packers are having fun, and they're playing harder. They're hitting better on defense. They're running harder on offense. They're blocking better on offense. They're rallying to the ball on defense. I mean, the one thing that really, really sticks out to me when I think about the Packers having fun and playing better is that kick return by Keyshawn Nixon. And you see just a freaking wave of players coming over celebrating with him.
And Rich Bisaccia.
Right. But the thing that just makes that energy goes through the team, and we could spin this and we can make this about mental health too. When you're happy and you're feeling good, happiness is kind of like magic, man. If you flip your mind into that mindset of being happy, then you're going to be optimistic more, and more good things are going to seem like they're better. And that's the thing that you have to take away from this is sports can teach you that in life as well. So, I love that they're back to having fun because it seems like they're just playing better.
That's why I
That's the
kind
reason
of
I
wish
wanted
it
to
would
talk about
throw
this.
in like a Keyshawn Nixon play because I feel like if he did make a big play, like a 20, 30-yard gainer, it's just going to
That the
more
energy is infectious.
happy
dude.
endorphins into the team and just get them
Right.
energized and keep going.
Yeah.
Like I think it would be fun,
Build
especially if
momentum.
you're get up 7-0, Tua throws a pick, and then we get Nixon on the field or something.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
All right. So Simon wants to talk specifically about the defensive backs against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Talk to me about what's going on with those 2 wide receivers. Definitely some studs.
Yeah, so like Brian did, I'm also gonna spoil my kind of key to victory. I mean, we gotta figure out a way to slow these guys down, and I think a lot of it will come from scheme too. Everyone is obviously on Joe Barry's ass for playing a lot of soft coverage, and I don't think you can do it versus Hill and Waddle. They're too fast. We don't have the speed from the cornerbacks or the DBs to do it. If we had Stokes, I might feel a little bit better about playing a little bit softer, but I didn't steal. Okay, Brian, whatever. But I might feel a little bit better on it. Maybe they try to utilize Keyshawn Nixon and his speed. Go ahead.
Can I make a suggestion? And Jake tiptoed around this when talking about the Packers offense against the Dolphins defense. But this is going to tie into my key to victory, so I'm just going to kind of spoil mine a little bit too. But
Let's go.
how do you guys think about the idea of putting Jair Alexander on Jalen Waddle and double teaming Tyreek Hill?
I don't hate it. I'm open
Honestly,
for whatever.
I'll give you my thoughts. I'll give you my thoughts later because I have some with that.
I know Brian's
I
going
don't
to
hate
talk about
it.
another thing that's probably going to happen more after Simon talks about the Packers, but go ahead.
I don't hate the idea. I think Waddle is a better route runner than Tyreek.
Yeah.
I
think Hill relies on his speed and athleticism to a point, but
That's
also
he's really
good at
that's not
finding
shitting on Hill's route running
spots
ability.
to get open.
Yeah.
He was a little more meticulous on it. I think the Chargers kind of came up with a really good game plan at how they want to slow those guys down. So at one point, Tua was like 3 for 17 in the game.
Whoa.
Versus the Chargers, and he ended up 11 for 28. So the Chargers kind of packed the middle of the field, and then they also played a lot of press coverage. So I think a lot of this game will depend on the scheme that Joe Barry deploys or employs.
Yeah, you use them both. Go for it.
All right, both. I'm not good with words. There's a reason I'm in the military. Pretty much.
Brian's over here like, damn, I am too. Shots fired.
I was being fictitious earlier, Simon, about stealing topic.
Yeah.
Fictitious.
So it'll be, like I said, I think it'll be really interesting to see what Joe Barry does to kind of slow down these guys.
Look at Bill's laughing at us. Unless he's laughing at Tua's stat line, because that is nuts. But Brian wanted to talk about zone coverage. So talking about DBs against Waddle and Hill, do we do more zone, or do we say put this guy on this guy and 2 guys on that guy, or do we just leave everybody where they are and
drop 11 in coverage?
So actually, I think Simon brings up a really good point. My concern is that you can either do that, or I feel like we really have to play zone. We got to make sure our communication's right. But my concern is they're going to do something in the middle. Like they're going to, have you ever heard you never half-ass anything, you full-ass everything or whatever? Like I have a feeling they're going to do something in between and it's going to kill us, right? So if we do play what Simon said, we definitely, if we're going to play on the line on them, we have to 100% get hands on them. We cannot miss a jam. Otherwise we're in serious trouble. That's going to be a quick touchdown. Now I could see it. And I mean, Barry's he played zone against freaking Ryan Tannehill. Okay. So I have a feeling we'll be playing zone here to try not get beat in this damn by their speed. So because Tua's he's not really a running threat at all. So it's got like 70 yards. I think Aaron Rodgers has more yards
this season too.
Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers might have more rushing yards than him on the season, to be honest. Tua has like 70.
Tua missed some games too, but
yeah, only 2. He's 2 full ones. Anyways, I think he's played 12 games. Either way, so like I could see him playing where they're playing zone most of the time. If they're going to do that, they need to frickin' tackle. So the matchup I'm really watching on defense is going to be the safeties helping on Waddle and Hill. Waddle and Hill have 680 yards receiving. It's 66% of the team's receiving numbers. Waddle's at like 1,100 and some. Tyreek Hill's like 1,500 and some. The next closest is at 350 or something like that. It's like a huge drop off. They have 2 weapons that we need to cover. Double team them both and single coverage everyone else. I don't care what you do. But if you're gonna play soft zone, you need to make sure those safeties are ready to tackle. And then on third and shorts, third and like 3-4 yards, where they might run the ball because we have that Mostert demon against us. But if on 3rd and 4, that's where I want to see them press, because they may not be taking a deep shot. And if they beat us on a deep shot at that point, fine. But the last thing I want to do is just give a team that's struggling to stay on the field on 3rd downs, but just a pitch and catch first down like we did against like Justin Fields and crap. I have a feeling we'll see it. Then that's where I'll get mad about the zone coverage if it's 3rd and 5, and you see Jaw and Douglas, who Douglas is God. They got to help Douglas this game, or he won't be burnt toast. He'll be.
I think Nixon is going to occupy
toast.
more of the other outside corner position. Nixon actually isn't giving up a lot of separation this season, and they'll have Rasul Douglas more as the slot corner.
I hope so. I hope you're right, Tyler. But for whatever reason, we've seen it all year. This team for the Packers, they're so like something has to completely break before they make a change, and that's what's killing me a little bit with this team. So hopefully they make an adjustment. Maybe they watch that San Diego game and they're like, "This is how we beat this team. This is how we do this." And I would love to see them do something a little bit different. But this has to be the best tackling game of the year, I think, especially from the DBs anyway.
Keyshawn Nixon did actually play 100% of the snaps on defense on Monday, so that it's not outside the realm of possibility that's how that goes. Pass coverage or pass rush. Cody said killing him with pass rush will help with coverage more than anything. I mean, those things go hand in hand. Sometimes you get coverage sacks because the coverage is so good. Sometimes if you can get to quarterback before they have the opportunity to get rid of the ball, that just negates any speed that the offense has because the quarterback can't get rid of the ball.
Tricky blitz packages because they have a really good offensive line. Tua's been sacked 19 years.
The Chargers did a really good job getting pressure on Tua early and often, and it disrupted all the timing that the Dolphins had. So if Enagbare is going to put himself on the map, it's going to be Christmas Day at noon. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So the other reason why I talked about what I wanted to talk about too is Derwin James and damn, I forgot his name now. One of their other starting corners was out during the game, so it wasn't like
J.C. Jackson.
Yeah, no, it wasn't J.C. Jackson.
Wasn't J.C.?
I don't remember off the top of my head, dude. I should have wrote it down, but I'm fired anyways, so who gives a shit?
Naturally. All right, well, just give us a matchup you're watching then. Simon, Bryant said the safety, so what do you got, Simon?
Oh, yeah, DBs have to find a way to slow down the wide receivers. It's just that's their strong part of their game, and both of them are dominating this year.
Oh, was it Asante Samuel Jr.?
No. It was. Yes, it was. I'm pretty sure it was. I think he's right.
All right, give me a second to look it up. But that's what I.
All right, Jake. What's the matchup you're watching?
All right, so it's gonna be Tua versus Amos. Tua likes to take a lot of deep shots. This offense, they live on big plays, big energizing plays. Bryant brought it up. I'm getting my names mixed up. There's a lot of you people in here for some reason.
You guys don't like to us.
You guys act exactly the same. So your name is Bryant and yours is Simon. I don't know. Anyways, I think Amos is going to have to be fantastic with his over-the-top defense. I think Rudy Ford's going to be more down in the intermediate area. So I think Amos over the top of either Waddle or Hill, whoever is running that deep route, is going to be the key to this game. And I'm calling for an Adrian Amos. It's not in my set. I'm calling for an Adrian Amos pick.
It was Bryce Callahan.
Oh, former Bear. That's why I didn't give a shit about
Bryce Callahan.
All right. Well, we can skip keys to victory now that we've all given ours during different points of the show. So for me, as far as matchups we're talking about is, for me, this is different than something you guys have all said. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on the linebackers, honestly. Obviously, we kind of mentioned Kingsley Enagbare. We haven't talked a lot about Preston Smith. If Preston Smith wants to have, his game of the year, this would be a great game to do it. He's in the early goings of the season, it felt like he was always just one step away from making a huge play, like one step away from a big sack. And then last week he got 2 sacks. So if, Preston Smith can do that, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, guys. Yeah. Same to you.
Same to you.
And then Jake touched on Justin Hollins a little bit. We talked about Chris Barnes maybe being back, probably being back, I should say. Quay Walker being used in different ways. that's all factoring into this. And a name that nobody has brought up on Miami because he's having a down year is Mike Gesicki. I don't want to get into a situation here where we're so focused on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and rightfully so, that we forget about Mike Gesicki, who had double-digit touchdowns last year.
Yeah, they don't throw him the ball, though, man. He only has like 25 catches, I believe, right?
But, I mean, if he's wide open in the middle of the field because we have 6 DBs back on Hill and Waddle.
Yeah, that kind of falls in the linebackers, though. I think Campbell can get rid of.
I brought up the
Gesicki.
linebackers. So I just don't want to get caught in a situation where we're so hyper-focused on their 2 good wide receivers. And like I said, rightfully so, because they are absolute studs. And Jalen Waddle has like the coolest touchdown celebration in the NFL.
He definitely
But
does.
I know I just don't want to get caught, where we're like getting beat, like Bill kind of mentioned it in the comments about getting beat on the intermediate stuff. And I just don't want to have a situation where we're talking, say, like a 3rd and 7, and Mike Gesicki's wide open in the middle of the field at the sticks because we're so worried about the outsides. So it's kind of like you guys were saying, though, it's all hands on deck and everybody needs to do their jobs. It can't be this situation where we're focused on just 2 guys and then we just get beat by everybody else.
True.
So the linebackers are going to be crucial as well. All right. So Simon had one interesting thing he wanted to talk about, and he wanted to talk about the unsportsmanlike conduct flags.
Should be good.
Yeah, I feel like it's the easiest situation not to put yourself in. And I think we have 6 on the year, and it's just demoralizing to see a team give up free 15 yards to the other team. I'm pretty sure they've all been on like defense too. So they're just marching down the field, and I don't know. It's just that the one on Rudy Ford was kind of dumb. I mean, the flag was correct. It's just dude was already way out of bounds. He was pretty far out.
Kind of finishing the play, which is what I thought when I was watching it in real time. But he does like give a shove when they're both like past like the super thick white lines. Like,
it's just unnecessary.
You could have given him a warning on that and say, hey, don't ever do that again.
I don't know, man. It was pretty far out from even I could tell off of just the regular play that he was just going to get flagged for it. And I don't know. It's just a mental error. And I think I can't remember what game it was, Washington or the Giants. We had a couple bad ones.
The Giants game is the one that Quay Walker got kicked out of.
That's the one it was. Yeah, that's right. For like hitting or shoving the whatever dude on the sideline. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a practice squad player. People trying to say he shoved a coach are wrong.
That's right. That's right. So I don't know. It's just so dumb to get those penalties.
Yeah. Unforced errors, like you said.
Yeah, unforced errors.
All right, Jake. Lay out the playoff scenario for us, because we're not out until we're out. Until that chance says 0, we're not out. So we're going to keep focusing on the playoffs until that mathematically eliminated 0 hits. So talk to me about the playoff scenario.
So I'll start with the 0%, then I'll tell you the good news after that. I like to start with negative, then go to positive. So if Washington wins against the 49ers, which I do not see happening, and the Packers lose to Miami, we're done. So I saw that as a scenario this weekend. I was like, don't see that happening. Thank you, San Francisco. I still hate you, but please win again. Also, a crazy stat about the 49ers real quick before I get into it. The teams that play the 49ers the following week are 1-10 after playing the 49ers. The only team to win was the Kansas City Chiefs. But they had to win. God damn it. Who the hell did they play? It wasn't this last weekend against Houston, but they had to come back from behind and beat them. I forgot who it was. But so the Packers right now have a 12%. It
was the Broncos, no?
It might have been the Broncos, actually. But anyways, if the Packers the Lions lose the Packers, and the Packers
it looks like he dropped out.
Just before Sunday. Then if the win,
all right.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna mute him so that he's not.
So Basically, the rooting guide for tomorrow is you want the Panthers, Chiefs, Vikings, and 49ers.
Yes.
That's who we're rooting for this weekend.
Yeah.
I will. This will be a controversial take amongst us, but and I'm not trying to manifest it, but I feel like if we do lose, I would want at that point, since our chances go down to like 0.3%, like even if, because I was doing it earlier with the playoff machine, like you had to have certain people lose, like it was insane. If we don't get the job done, at that point, I would just hope Washington wins, because then we could like see the younger player get more snaps, because we have to win out to make the playoffs. Like the chances of us making the playoffs with a loss is so slim. Like I know it was slim before at like 5%, but it's like I was doing the playoff machine earlier, and it was almost essentially impossible. You wouldn't even see it. You're talking like the Rams beating the Seahawks. Sorry, my door keeps opening. Aberrations coming in here.
Ghosts?
But yeah, and it's negative like 5 degrees out. I don't know what's going on with it. The doors like won't close properly. Anyways, I would just say, like, I don't know how you guys feel, but if we don't get it, I feel like to deserve really to go to the playoffs, we need to finish 9-8. I know there's possibility we could make it 8-9, but for me, if we don't win tomorrow, I would just want somehow Washington to upset San Francisco, so then we can see, it's not maybe see Jordan Love in something for 2 games other than just 1 game. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how you all feel about that, but I feel like if we finish 9-8, I feel like if we finish 9-8, we're 100% making the playoffs. I feel like our chances are really good there, but I feel like if we lose to on Christmas, that we can.
I think I saw that if the Packers win and the Commanders lose, the Packers' chances go up to like 75%.
75%, yeah.
So, question in the comments said, correct me if I'm wrong, but assuming the Packers and Lions are tied at the end of the season, it'll go down to a strength of victory tiebreaker, which will depend on other teams' records. Is it strength of schedule, or is it division record?
And that was what I was talking about, because I was looking at it, and like even if the Lions win this week, but then we were to beat them, we could still beat them in the playoffs, but then we're doing like a strength of victory tiebreaker with Seattle, and that's where it got really wonky. And
the Packers won their division last year, so they're playing the number 1 teams in all the divisions. So the Packers should have a strength of schedule.
It's strength of schedule this year, not last year.
And the Rams
is subtly
are like
different.
3-0. So
because I don't know what it is the rest of the time, but I know currently the Lions have played a stronger strength of schedule.
Yeah. I'm just gonna look it up.
I know that also we still have to play. Our strength of schedule would go up with the Miami Vikings and the Lions too. So I haven't gotten to mess around with the playoff simulator that much. I honestly just been focusing on just Packers beating the next team.
We got to win it, essentially.
I kind of agree with Brian. I hate going out on slim hopes like that.
Yeah, our strength of victory is 0.393 right now. So
yeah, it would just be ultra. I mean, we would just have to root for the weirdest crap to happen.
Yeah,
and it's at that point unrealistic. Us winning out and beating the Lions, yeah, that's where we're at.
All right, 2 clubs head to head, best win-loss tied percentage in the games. So win-loss tied percentage in games between the clubs, best in games played. So it's the best win-loss tied percentage in the games between them, and then it's best win-loss tied percentage in games played within the division.
Okay,
what I'm seeing between 2 clubs. This is from NFL.com. So that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, if they like this thing, Fox Sports is saying if they win, it goes up to 19.
That's for the division. For wild card, it's within the conference. So Isaac is right; it's within the conference.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's head to head, and then it's win-loss tied in games played within the conference.
So unfortunately, there's not really a high chance that we'd be eliminated even if we lose, because I highly doubt Washington's beat San Francisco. But for me, if we don't get the job done, I'm kind of hoping that happens. And so we can because then there's no reason not to play Devontae Wyatt, 25, 30 snaps. There's no reason, you know what I mean, at that point. So I feel like really to earn their way in. I want them to get into the playoffs at 9-8. That's just my opinion. It gets really wonky, and it will be produced after this game if we were to lose. But I just feel like let's just go down there and take care of business and be.
All right, Jake. What's the weather going to be like?
It's going to be a balmy 58 with a real feel of 53.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
Yeah,
Man,
really
after
nice.
today, man,
It's like negative 30 real feel.
The thing is, if you look up, because I was hoping you did this too, Jake. I looked up the average temperature for Miami at this time of year. It's like low 70s. So this is going to be a cold game for them, and this is going to be like a nice warm game for Green Bay.
Right? Everybody's
Yeah,
like, this is nice.
on the weather app, it says
I bet
coldest Christmas in years.
Yeah, I bet you anything we see Dolphins players in long sleeves and Packers players in short sleeves. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that this could tilt it a little bit and like make a little bit of a difference, but
I mean, it's better than the alternative, them
any
going
help.
down there playing in 90-degree weather.
exactly. Dehydration is kind of like, we always weird about that and stuff. This is going to be like them practicing in the Don Hudson Center. I bet you anything they probably practiced them in the Don Hudson Center this week, and they probably had it right around that temperature in there.
I mean, maybe we'll get another Alan Lazard puke game if we have another 90 degrees.
Hey, if that's what we need to win, I hope he pukes all over.
All right, Brian, give me one of your assignment says.
So my assignment says both of them this week are like very bold predictions. So the first one is Rodgers hasn't thrown for 300 yards in a game this season and has only thrown for 3 touchdowns once.
Damn it.
This game, he goes for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Oh my God.
And I know this is contradicting what I said we need to win, but I did say that we could win with just really like a really high percentage completion, like Aaron Rodgers going like 28 for like 36 or something like that. You know what I mean?
With the way
28
this team's
36,
played
352 and 4 touchdowns. No, sure, Don.
with the way the team's played this year, I don't think there's a fucking chance. Our drives take way too long. We're not like an super explosive team on offense to where we're gonna have like a 2-minute drive very often. God, I don't love it. See, what's funny is
off 100 yards and 1 touchdown, and you said 250 and 3 touchdowns. Yes. I think I'd be in.
It wouldn't be that bold then.
Yeah.
I was so funny thing is I was gonna make a bold prediction that Aaron Rodgers throws for 303 TDs because I don't think he's done that this year at all.
303 touchdowns?
He's never done that. He hasn't done that this season.
He hasn't done it this season.
He's never thrown for 303 touchdowns in one game.
Oh my God.
Okay.
He said 303. God, it's a joke right now. Cody said Nixon returns for a touchdown.
I'm down. I want it so bad.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah,
right?
I want it so bad.
Eventually.
What was it? Oh,
Nixon scores a touchdown. Yeah,
okay,
I want it so bad.
Can I just get my next one then?
Just go for it.
Super bold. The Packers score a special teams and defensive touchdown on the game.
Ooh, sick. I'm in.
So greedy, but I love it.
That'd be so
greedy.
like
that was a good one.
We're gonna need something crazy like that to go to win this game. So
I don't know if we need that much craziness. If we were playing like the Chiefs or something, I'd say we'd need both of those. But
yeah,
to beat the Dolphins, I'd take one or the other.
I wanted to be,
all right, Jake, what do you got for Simon Says?
Jones has 150 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. Just say yes because that one's happening.
Yeah, okay. That's how that works.
That one's happening. I promise.
All right, so this is how Jake says because he's gonna make his own.
That one is happening. That one is happening.
He's like, here. What do you think? Yeah. Let me think it for you.
Simon, what was that stat you shared a few weeks ago about the Packers having over 180 something yards rushing per game or something like in wins or something like that? Do you remember?
Bro, I don't know, man.
Something about over 175 rushing yards.
God,
and they win.
I do remember posting about.
Oh, they're 1-7 when they have games under 175.
Under 175, yeah. So.
Yeah. All right. So the one that I have.
I have one more.
All right, go ahead.
So this one I'm gonna let you decide because I'm not really sure. I'm on the fence. Hold Miami under 200 passing yards.
Ooh. Yeah.
Before you decide,
That's a good
before you
one.
decide, the Packers are second in pass defense. Miami's third. And it's almost 100 yards difference. So it makes it tough.
God, no. I think the team's too. I think Miami's too explosive for that. I fucking love it though.
If we do those touchdowns that Brian's talking about, it might happen.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. All
Dude,
right.
if we hold them, I'll say this right now: if we hold them to less than 200 yards passing, unless Mostert goes crazy, we're winning that game.
Yeah, true. And they're probably not scoring 20 points.
True.
Yeah.
All right. So the one that I have, Quay Walker, double-digit tackles. And I just want to point out that I did call for a Quay Walker sack last week, and it happened.
Yep.
So
I said yes to that? I'm pretty sure.
I think you did.
I think you did. That was a good one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said yes to that one because
So I'm like 1 for 69 on Simon Says for the season.
no more guesses.
Yeah, just stop the count.
Stop
I think I've gotten one right. I can't remember what it was, but
wait, what'd you say?
He said he thinks he got one right, but I think he's full of shit because he didn't remember which one
it
it
was
was.
earlier in the year.
Well, when you
I'll see if
make
I can look.
74 Simon Says per game, yeah,
Hey.
you're bound to get at least one right.
Hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Michael Scott.
True.
Michael Scott.
Cody said Crosby scores the most points in a game and he breaks Favre's record.
If Crosby's, I don't want that because if
What?
Crosby
I
scores
don't
the
want
most
that to
points, I don't
happen.
think we're winning.
Why not? What if he kicks like 8 field goals? Like
Yeah,
extra points. I mean,
And then we lose 27-24.
no.
Yeah, that's-
Extra points.
wait, what do you?
Then we'd have 56
If
points.
he
Simon.
kicks
Yeah,
8
there's-
field
I
goals,
was
I don't
like,
think we're
there's no
scoring
way.
any touchdowns.
Ain't no way. That also would be one of my things, right? Because then we are not scoring in the fucking red zone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
are we going to
I hope
complain about us
I hope
scoring in the red
Crosby
zone if we
scores
put up
5
56?
points this game. That's all I want. 5 points from Crosby.
So
I
5
would take it.
touchdowns.
Exactly.
Yes.
'Cause
I'm
you
down for
can
that.
also-
Simon, is there any bold predictions you want to make for this game?
Nah, mine was the Rodgers thing.
Okay. All right. Simon, go first. Give me your score prediction from the head.
Yeah. I don't love this game, honestly. I called this a loss a while ago, and I'm kind of sticking to it from my head. I just think the Dolphins at home, offensive, explosive plays. It'd be really hard for us to find a quarterback to shut down Tyreek Hill and Waddle. I got us losing 30-24.
30-24. Bryant, from the head.
No, I agree with Simon. They've only lost one game at home all year. Hopefully we can make it 2. It's a little unseasonably cold for them. Hopefully that has an effect, but I have us losing 27-24.
Okay.
All right, Jake, what's your score prediction from the head?
Packers 28, Miami 27.
That's my heart.
Keeping it tight. So I went last on purpose because I'm going to give both of mine because they're both the same. So my score prediction from the head is 27-24 Miami. My score prediction from the heart is 27-24 Green Bay. So
I almost
Jake,
had the exact same as you, but I changed it. I changed it to 28-27 from my heart. So Jake's head is my heart. So that's where he rests his head.
I'm just moving
My-
on.
my
I'm not
rubber
even
back.
fucking around with that. Simon, give me your score prediction from the heart.
I don't know what to say to that.
All
right, so- just because I think this would be fun. All right, so Crosby walk-off field goal after Aaron Rodgers fake spikes to Christian Watson for a first down. Yeah?
That'd be sick.
What do we think, right?
Then,
27-24
I
Packers.
feel like I've seen this before.
I feel like it's got to be like a random tight end catching it though, because it was Corliss last time, wasn't it?
No, it's Adams.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Oh,
I
that
thought it
caught
was
the
Andrew
touchdown?
Corliss.
No, it
Oh,
wasn't a touchdown.
that caught the fake
No,
spike.
just
It was
the fake
Adams.
spike, yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
fake
The
spike was Adams.
The
Yeah.
touchdown was Corliss.
Yes.
Okay, the touchdown was Corliss. All right.
Yes.
All right, Jake.
And
what's
that
your
was
score prediction?
that was rookie Devontae Adams, by the way. So
It
it could
was.
be rookie
Simon,
Christian
what's
Watson. So
your
good
what's
call.
your heart score?
I said 27-24 Packers.
27-24. Okay, Jake, what is your heart score?
You guys are a bunch of pussies. I have 34-24. Like, let's go. Let's go. We're going to go down there. We're going to win by 10.
34, 24, 36. Only she's 5'3". Bill said 27-21 Miami from the head, 31-28 from the heart. It's, I mean, outside of Jake's heart prediction, I mean, we all have this game within single digits. So
my dream scenario would be Rodgers having the ball back the last drive with either, hopefully the game's tied, so we only have a chance to win it. You know what I mean? But
right.
even if we're down, I feel like just give us one chance to win this game at the end of the game, and I think we can make it happen.
Yeah, and that's why before when you were like, it might come down to who's holding the ball last. That's why I'm like, shit, because I have 27-24 for both of my.
I almost did the exact same thing. That would have been hilarious.
Robert said 24-21 Packers. I mean, pretty much every prediction that everybody's throwing out is all within single digits. So it's going to be, honestly, it's going to be stressful. And, like Jake talked about, let's just have fun. Bottom line. As a team and as fans, let's just have fun. The fact that we're in this situation after losing 5 straight games, and now we're talking about how we can still make the playoffs, that on its own is something to be happy about, because we're not talking about 2023 already.
Yeah, and the adversity this team is fighting through is insane. I know it's not a bit. You play to win. You to play your games, right? Like Miami's coming off of 2 extra days with us. Then we turn around. Whoever we play next week will have an extra day of rest on us, which is Minnesota. But I feel like, hey, I like the fact that our backs are against the wall and we just have keep just piling onto us or whatever. So I'm hoping I think if they can go down into Miami and get this win, they obviously have to come home not feeling too high, and realize what they need to do. But if they go down to Miami and take this win, I like our chances, and I tell you what, I wouldn't want to play us in the playoffs. A sneaky team.
Yeah. Robert said if we can get this win, I feel great. I like our chances in week 17 and 18.
Yes,
absolutely.
I was just gonna say that too.
And that's the same thing. Like David, who's kind of a friend of the show, he's watched a lot of our shows. He was asking us for record predictions for the last 4 games, and we're saying 4-0 because we can't settle for anything less. And I'm sure that's the Packers mentality, but I'm sure they're also looking at it as we need to go 1-0 this week. So that's where we're at.
The Packers know they're in the playoffs right now.
Right. So, yeah, let's go 1-0 this week. So thanks, everybody, for watching and commenting along. We'll definitely be talking on Sunday. So go, Pack, go. Let's get this win.
Go, Pack, go.
Let's go.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.